Do you hear me say? Yes, these are easy. So this is a leftover paper bags that I had from that snowflake craft, and yep, we got a recycled thrift store found wreath, and I think it was a Walmart, but of course I thrifted it. And so yeah, this is really minimal what you need: a pair of scissors, some wire nippers to cut that wreath, and some tape. So first thing, I'm going to take the tag off, and we are going to prep our wreath by cutting the wires. So there's a natural little broken one already, so that is where I'm going to make my other cut. So we need something to be able to attach our paper bags to, so I'm just going to go ahead with some good nippers and cut that wire. Nope, you're not taping these paper bags on to the wire form. You're just taping off those sharp edges so that it does not tear your paper. So on both sides, I'm just putting some masking tape over there, covering up those sharp edges. Now that we have a space in between all the sharp edges, so it does not tear a bag, we can start doing this craft. And all we have to do is cut a hole in the bottom of the bag. So at first I thought, okay, well, I'll just slice it not to waste any of it, but quickly decided that the easiest way was just to cut off that bottom altogether. And I wasn't actually sure how many bags I was going to need, so I just started cutting a few. The nice thing about these bags is they come in packs of 100. So now that I have my hole and I can fit my hands in there, yep, it's like we're making trash. You're just going to scrunch it all together, leaving a circle in the middle, like a hole in the middle, so you can slide it right on that wire. So it can be as loose, as tight as you want. And voila, look at how easy this is. So yep, you just keep on doing that same thing, just scrunching it the way that you like it, whatever appealing to you, whatever color of paper bags you like. And then yep, you just keep doing that same thing over and over again until you've filled up this whole wire wreath. So yep, we just keep scrunching up like we're making trash out of those lunch sacks. So yep, you just keep as full and as tight. I don't want to see any of the wreath. You can make it loose. It's really minimal cost here, but what a big statement this is already making. Now I'm getting into the end where I'm going to have to tape my two pieces together, but I still need a few more scrunchies to fill the space. So I just took a couple clamps. I'm sure you could use some clothespins, also just something to hold it back while you're trying to get a few more on there. And now I have got all the scrunchies I want. I'm going to push that back as much as I can because now I'm going to tape those two pieces together. Yeah, as simple as, I cannot believe how simple this is. So I'm just going to make sure that I've taped it both ways, making sure that it's nice and tight and taped together, and then take those clamps off. And now I have one solid wreath. Now I need to add something to hang it. You could leave it as is, but in my stash of stashes, I have this webbing that I haven't reupholstered in a while, but this is in that dumpster diving into my craft room, and I absolutely think that this webbing matches this paper bag, and that little bit of black is just nice and simple for me. And if you make one of these at home, have fun with it. Pick out what you like. And a little bit of hot glue to keep the two pieces together will hold this nice and tight. And I'm actually going to wire a little hanger on the back piece, make it the ease of hanging it onto the wall. So yes, we are going to be making another wreath. And the nice thing about the two wreath forms I am using today is they are wreath forms that you can still buy. Even though I thrifted them, you can definitely buy them out and about. So I love a good thrift store find. And coming up with a idea to use these beautiful music sheets for. It's a shame to have them just laying around all broken up like that. So the first thing I'm going to do, take off these broken pages and then remove the rest of the pages from that spine. So for our assistant today is going to be a pencil. Yep, a pencil. So what you're going to do, and I'm sorry that I kind of got out of camera here now and again, so I am apologizing early for that. So yep, look at that. So you fold that paper in half and you just scrunch it like you're going to be tossing it into the trash. The little bit of hot glue at the end is what I got out of focus. I'm so sorry, you guys. And so you take that hot glue and that pencil and you push that into, so you're not pushing it into the foam. What you're doing is that hot glue is drying and attaching that piece of paper to the foam. You just hold it there until you feel like that hot glue is drying, and then you remove that pencil, and there you have your first piece of paper. And yes, we're going to repeat this a whole bunch of times. But it really is a simple craft. It looks like a hot mess at first, but trust me, oh, what a statement piece this makes. And no, this little pamphlet that was left over was not enough. So when I get to putting more on, I do variegate it with one of the other booklets. And we are going to be cutting some of the paper. At first, for the tier effect, we're going to just be using the full sheets on this bottom layer. So unlike the first wreath I did, grab yourself a cup of coffee, put some good music on, a book on tape, or watch a TV while you're doing this. This one was a little bit more time consuming, but there is always those crafts that are nice to watch your favorite TV program too. So yep, I grabbed myself a coffee and I'm just going to sit back and enjoy scrunching up some paper. I've got my inner done. Now I'm going to work on the outside layer of this length of the paper. I'd like this to be able to hang, so I'm going to attach my hanging system now, not after it's done, now. So I'll be able to get in between all this paper. So just whatever gauge wire you have, I'm going to twist it so the hanging system's towards the back. If you forget, well, you can always create something to figure out how to hang it, but I'm remembering to add it to it now. So now that we have this layer done, I'm going to be cutting my paper sheets into 3/4. So all I did was just take my scrapbooking cutter to cut paper and cut them down. Pretty simple. So just uniform, same length. That way it will tear in. So you won't be overlapping, having the same length. It's going to make this really full. So it's the same exact process of scrunching it around that pencil, putting a little dab of hot glue on the end, and sticking it to the foam. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to find my empty space and variegate it every other one, as I work around the inside and work around the outside yet again. So now that area is complete. Look how full it's becoming. So now we're using half sheets. So this is where it did take that whole booklet, but well worth it. So I have the full sheet at the bottom, the 3/4 we just did, and now we're going to complete this wreath with 3 more layers. But it's just going to be the half sheet of paper. So yet again, that same process, and I'm just finding that hole in between the other two to make this. And this honestly took me about 2.5 hours. I'm not kidding you, but it is so beautiful. And then I kind of gave up on pushing the pencil in. It was just kind of awkward when we got to this stage, so I just used the pencil to scrunch my paper up, and then for the hot glue, and then took it off the pencil to add it onto the foam. Now to finish this up, we just need to cover up the rest of that green, one more line of the half sheets around, and we have this beautiful statement piece of a wreath. Next up are these frames, and yes, who else has a weak moment at the thrift store that you pick up these should probably go into the trash frames, and then you're like, oh well, what am I gonna do with these? So this is the perfect craft at this time of the year for these frames. Oh, you know I'm not throwing these in the trash. So first off, I've got to remove the nails, get the hanging system. I don't want to completely take away the age and the character, so I'm going to leave the backs as is this time, which is unusual for me, but take out any nails that have been left behind for wherever the picture has gone that is no longer there. Since these don't have any picture, any glass or anything like that, I need to create my own back. So all I'm going to do is take some leftover cardboard, some packing material, and I'm going to just trace. I'm going to make sure that I'm getting into the inside, not the outside of the frame, but that little lip on the back to make sure I have the exact size that I need on the frame for this backing. So then I'm just going to take an X-Acto knife and a ruler and cut off what I need. Now I am going to paint these frames up, and I want to make it quick and easy. So I'm going to do the crackling, which is very quick and easy, surprisingly. So just the Dollar Tree glue, like your Elmer's glue, I'm just going to squirt it on and then take a paintbrush and wipe it around. But need my glue to be dry just a little bit, just where it gets that skim coat on the top. It's not completely dry, but it's just a little dry, so I'm just using a heat gun to help me achieve that. Now that I've done that, I'm going to move on to painting. So now I've got my Kills paint and primer, whatever paint you want, but it is one coat. So it's a nice heavy coat, and you really don't want to go back over where your glue was, because you're going to add the paint to it and it's going to reactivate it, and it'll change what your crackle effect will be. So it is a nice heavy full paintbrush on your first and only coat. And you can let these just dry naturally, or you can take that heat gun and just help it crackle along. I enjoy watching that reaction of it crackling. And now on my second frame, I'm going to do black, just my black Onyx ready to use paint from Walmart. Yep, two different kind of paints here, two different colors. Oh, but I know that this black will go well with this gold showing through underneath when it crackles. So same thing, heavy filled up a paintbrush, and try not to go back and forth, just kind of adding it to the frame. Now, were you wondering what I was going to be making with these pieces of cardboard and these frames? So I'm still working. Yeah, I dived right in. Look, I have some fabric. I have some linen. I have just random pieces that I have picked up at the thrift store that I want to use up. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be making some flags. So to cover up my cardboard, I have this left over that I just couldn't pass up. I don't even know what it was used for, but I'm going to use this as my backing to cover up this cardboard. I figured out the design that I want to use on my backing. Even though most of it's going to be covered up with the flag, I'm just going to hot glue it on. Go ahead and flip it over and cut off that excess so it'll fit into that frame. This is the piece of ticking stripe that I had thrifted, and I made some pillows for a couch, and these are that leftover piece I just can't ever throw away. So this is perfect. I love the stripes. I'm a black and white girl, so I'm going to be making some black and white flags. So now I'm just trying to figure out what size I wanted to take up. That it shows, I still want some on background to show, but I wanted the flag to take up most of the space. So I'm doing a couple little nips so I can take my rotary cutter and cut some straight lines. Now I'm going to do the same thing with this white piece. I'm not sure if it was a napkin, what it was, but it was something I had, and it was perfect to coordinate with this. So I'm just going to, yet again, figure out, maybe, I don't know, I have a stash of stars, y'all, if you're not noticing here. I told you I was dumpster diving. I was going to find me some stars to use today on these. So, yeah, I keep on going, don't I? But, yep, I'm going to figure out what size, which star I like, which size I need to make my white. And, of course, I'm going to go for the rusty, crusty one. So now that I have my white square cut out, I'm going to be attaching this all together. So I'm using the hemmed fuse tape, the same tape that I used to make curtains, and I just recently used it on that little dress form. So I'm just going to, as I said, I'm using up what I have in my craft store, but this is all stuff that you could purchase, and I hope I am inspiring you to use up some of your stash. All my rusty crusty stars came out of some floral arrangement that I thrifted and taken apart, and I always salvage these. I always save these, so I just need to snip that wire off as best as I can and then glue it on using some hot glue. When my frame is dry, I am going to sand it just a little bit, but look how that's going to look. I'm so excited to get these together. So I'm going to take some sandpaper. I wanted to do a little bit more distressed, and I wanted to look a little bit more aged. The crackle is nice, but you can add two techniques together. I want some of that wood to show through, and I want to make sure on the back side that, because that's a lot of paint that drips on the side, that I get that nice and smooth. And then to attach my cardboard to make so it does not move, you could tape, or use these glazing like pins that you would use for windows, which of course I thrifted. I told you I pick up the weirdest things in the thrift store. I know sometimes Chris looks at me, but they do make sense when it comes to projects like this. So you just slide them in. You can use a flathead screwdriver. This is my staple removing tool that I'm using. They actually make a tool. I know Chris has one to do this with, but I of course couldn't find it in the workshop. So that way this will just be nice and tight. I will be adding a hanging system to the back of this so somebody can hang it when they purchase it. And of course I'm reusing one this is a lightweight one, so I'm reusing one that I actually took off another piece. I have a problem without throwing things away. How about you all? For the black frame, I'm going with something just a little bit different. I have some leftover tea stained, coffee stained dye drop cloth that I had for those flowers that I just made, along with the black stripes that I have, came from some pillowcases that I had that I actually reused on some picnic baskets. It's that same concept. I'm just trying to guesstimate what size I want my flag to be on my board. I love that I had some black and white stripes in my stash and rusty stars. So just trying to make it size appropriate. It's kind of a nice little, you don't have to be that perfect. You just can be that perfectly imperfect that I absolutely love when we're crafting. And I'm really working around that corner edge. I really like how that stained right there, so I'm working my whole square for where I'm going to put my star around that spot. For this one, this is a little bit thicker of fabric, so I think hot glue is my better little. You can still use the hem tape. I like the hem tape. I didn't think it was going to show through like the hot glue might have done on that. I don't know if it would have, but it's just nice to show two different techniques. And so I'm just getting it all hot glued together. I do have a littler star that's wired. I just need to, oh, I did, that one just broke off. I don't really need to cut too much of it off, just hot glue it on. And then, you know, of course, I got it all glued together, and I'm like, I don't like that background. It's too matchy. I can't, yeah, so I'm gonna, yep, good thing that I used the hot glue on this one. I don't think the hem tape would have came off as easily. So yes, I'm gonna remove my flag and change out my backing. Oh, I like it a lot better on this burlap background. How about you? Now, when I picked up this little frame in the thrift store, I'm like, I already liked how it was painted, but I don't really need the glass. And then, yeah, again, there's that thrifted primitive type of flag. So all I'm going to do is remove this glass at first. And I'm going to hot glue this burlap onto that piece of cardboard. I didn't have to cut one. This already had a backing. I love the three-dimensional look that this gives by putting the frame on the outside and not putting it inside the frame. So I'm just going to hot glue it in place, and I'm going to have to cut off that piece of wood hanging over the frame. I'm going to go ahead and add a few more of the rusty stars I have in my stash, and then this is just a really simple makeover. Would you like to see another super easy one? So this is a frame. It's got burlap. It has a clippy on it. And I had this thrifted primitive flag. I cut the flag off the pole. I'm just going to clamp it on. I'm going to use a little bit more of that hem double stick tape to tape the flag down, and then I'm going to go ahead and add a few of the wooden stars that I had left over from a Christmas garland that I had made. So now my last one isn't as easy as those last two, but I've had these two pieces rolling around way too long, and now I'm going to try to figure out what to do with them. I guess it's all about timing, because this galvanized is really shiny. I can't remember if it was leftover or something, or I thrifted it. That's how long it's been around. And look, I put the wrong lid on the wrong patina. Oops. So now I'm going to be using some of the brown rust patina along with some of the red rust patina to give a little bit of age to the super shiny galvanized. And I know I could have put the patina to look like a flag, but I thought something a little bit different. I've been doing a lot of flags there. So I'm just going to actually put the star in the center. So I have some of these stars that, of course, I thrifted. These wooden stars along with some leftover bigger rusty crusty ones that I have to cut the wire off. I kind of like it right smack in the center. I think that looks nice. And I will probably age the rust on this one just a little bit with that other patina because I like it to match a little bit more. And of course, since I had that space above, I wanted to Cricut something out. So I just went to my Cricut, did a general font. I just picked the wording of rustic. star, and now I'm just going to do the lettering with some apple barrel white, a couple coats, seal that in with some polyacrylic, and now we have a cute little hanging star sign.